Good afternoon, everyone. Bill Rentschler in the 1011 Now streaming studio. It's Wednesday, and that means we have our weekly Crime Stoppers segment. Again, usually this is hosted by Madison Pitch. I'm obviously not Madison Pitch. And usually we have Jared Maneri here, but today we're doing a little twist.
Obviously not Jared either.
We've tapped the Lancaster County Sheriff's Office now to come in and to join us. Again, we've had UNLPD and obviously Lincoln PD, but now we're getting Lancaster County Sheriff's Office involved. So thanks, Captain John Vick with LSO joining me today. John, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us. We're happy to be a part of it.
Awesome. And so today we're not necessarily focusing on crimes that have committed, but we're looking for people. We're going to go kind of through the Lancaster Lookout. John, can you kind of tell us a little bit about what the Lancaster Lookout is and kind of how it works?
Yeah, so a little twist on the usual Crime Stoppers segment. Our Lancaster Lookout is actually a listing of the most wanted fugitives in Lancaster County. It's been a pretty big hit on our website, and it's something that people have been interested in over the years. It's been around as long as I can remember, and it's kind of ebbed and flowed and changed over the years. What this is going to look like is maybe not necessarily the most recent warrants, but there are a lot of times warrants that we've got leads that have kind of gone cold, or leads that we really need the public's help in being able to find people. So these are folks who have actually had a warrant issued for their arrest by a judge, most times for some crime that they're alleged to have committed, and a judge has found probable cause that they committed that crime, and we just need to get them in the court process so that they can deal with whatever issue they have going on.
So usually, again, our Crime Stoppers, we're looking for suspects. Now with this, we kind of have our suspects, like you just said. A judge has actually signed off on a warrant. These people are looking for, you're looking for to arrest them and to get that court process started.
Correct. And we have a fugitive task force at the Sheriff's Office. It's made up of sheriff's deputies, also Lincoln police officers, the U.S. Marshal Service, and some other state and local partners. Those folks do a great job. They have a job to only go out and look for fugitives and try and find the worst of the worst, make sure that they're off the streets in Lincoln and Lancaster County, hopefully keeping Lancaster County a safe place to live, work, and play.
And so a lot of times, again, here in the newsroom, we obviously always have the scanner going, and a lot of times we'll hear, oh, the fugitive task force has some house surrounded or something like that. So again, that's that task force that's going around and again, and apprehending some of these individuals.
Yep, sure is.
And so most people probably know, again, from watching movies or TV shows, you know, everyone's got their most, top 10 most wanted list, whether it's the FBI or whomever. And this is kind of, again, something similar to that. And so we're going to try and meet probably about once a month or so, again, kind of in the Crime Stoppers wheel. And obviously we're not going to go through all 10 today, but we're going to go through a couple today. And so the first gentleman leading us off here is D'Anthony McGuire. So can you kind of take us through this case? Again, you can kind of see the flyer there that you guys have generated with his picture there as well.
Yeah, so D'Anthony has a few different warrants that we're looking to try and get cleared up. But again, this is a case where our investigators have gone to look for this individual and we're kind of out of leads. So we need the public's help to try and find D'Anthony McGuire. His most serious warrant was for a crash that he was involved in the Waverly area. He was operating a vehicle that was struck by a train. There was a juvenile passenger that was injured, and he left the scene of that injury crash. So there's a felony warrant out for him right now, and along with a couple other felonies for theft and some misdemeanor warrants. And currently his whereabouts are unknown. So you can see there on the screen most of the particulars about Mr. McGuire, black male, born in 1991. And we just really need the public's help on trying to figure out where he might be so that we can go talk to him and get his warrant cleared up.
And in the information that you guys sent over, it says all the way back last year, March of last year, D'Anthony is suspected of being the driver of a vehicle that violated a set of railroad crossing arms near Waverly. The vehicle was struck by a train, and that crash caused serious injury to a 14-year-old male passenger. And then on top of that, sounds like Mr. McGuire fled the scene, also failed to render aid or call for assistance for that 14-year-old.
Yeah,
so,
So it was a serious crime, and it's something that we need to make sure that we can get processed by the justice system. He also has a couple other warrants for some felony theft from a Lincoln convenience store, also using some stolen credit cards. So he's been out for a little while, and we're just trying to clear some of these things up.
And so in cases like this, and again, even the one that we'll talk about next, is it something where likely these individuals have maybe left town? And are you working with, I guess, authorities in neighboring counties and states also?
Yeah, it's
kind of putting their
certainly
picture out?
it certainly could be. I mean, crime knows no borders, and sometimes when we're looking for someone here, they may decide that they want to move somewhere else, or at least spend some time somewhere else. So we're always used to working with our other state and federal partners to try and get these things cleared up and get people found. So if you know that he's maybe in a different jurisdiction, those agencies could pick him up as well. So we'd really like folks to contact us if they have any information on his whereabouts.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you get pulled over. If you got an outstanding warrant,
Yep.
Whoever's pulling you over is going to see it.
24 hours a day. Yep.
All right,
take care of it.
That's case number 1. Case number 2 involves this individual, Mr. Andrew Roth.
Yeah.
Again, who is someone that you guys are also looking for.
He is, and this is for terroristic threats. So this stemmed from a disturbance with Mr. Roth's family, actually, and sadly he ended up grabbing a weapon and threatened some of his family members. So on top of the crime that we're trying to investigate, and there's a warrant out for terroristic threats from that incident, his family's worried about him, and his whereabouts are currently unknown. In addition to taking care of the crime through the justice system, they really just want to know that he's okay and where he's at. So we're doing everything that we can to try and locate Mr. Roth. Obviously, this was more of a violent crime that involves some threats with a weapon and things like that. So it's not someone that we want to be having out on the streets. But we'd like to know where he's at so that we can get that taken care of.
And last seen, would be here in Lincoln or in Lancaster County at least?
And that happened in Lincoln, so that was a disturbance that happened in Lincoln.
Okay, and so then, DeAnthony McGuire was in Waverly.
Yep.
Or at least kind of the bigger incident,
The bigger incident on that list was from Waverly. So, both Lancaster County cases, and our task force works in Lincoln, in the surrounding areas out in Lancaster County, and we also have agreements with jurisdiction for our surrounding counties and things like that. So we'll go wherever we need to go to find these people, but we really need the public's help to figure out where they're at.
And so just like you mentioned, again, obviously Crime Stoppers, any segment that we do, you're looking for the public's help. And so how can folks kind of go through that process of reaching out to you and kind of giving you guys information? And again, if they want to remain anonymous, how does that all work?
So everybody's probably familiar with Jared being here. The Crime Stoppers page is a great place to start. You can go to LincolnCrimeStoppers.com. That's where you can read about active cases where we have surveillance footage, photos of folks. On there's actually a link to Lancaster Lookout. You can click that link, or we made it really easy for you. You can go to LancasterLookout.com, and that's where you can actually find the top 10 list, or at least our most wanted list of our warrants in Lancaster County. So that is updated, I don't want to say on a real-time basis, but fairly frequently. When our investigators get some downtime, if someone is arrested, it'll say that they've been arrested on that list. But it's updated, on a daily, weekly basis. When we have new warrants come down, people have been arrested, and we're looking for new folks.
And I can actually pull up, this is that website. Again, LancasterLookout.com. It's going to basically forward you right here to this page. And again, you can find information on how to leave tips, on how to report information on all these individuals right here on this page, LancasterLookout.com. And again, you have that, like you just mentioned, that top 10 list again, where we can see the two gentlemen we've spoken about today, DeAnthony and Andrew. Again, so you got 10 there. Again, that's kind of the top 10 individuals that you guys are looking for here in Lancaster County. There was one thing you kind of wanted to talk about, Crime Stoppers, anonymous tips, with the top 10 list, there's maybe the, I'm going to get this guy. I'm going to catch this guy. If I'm going to see him, I'm going to go up to him. That is not what you are advocating for.
Yeah, that's definitely not what we want to do. If folks want to remain anonymous, that's fine, completely understandable. Crime Stoppers is still a great way to give us tips, and you can do that anonymously on Crime Stoppers, through the Crime Stoppers website, via phone number, via app. That's all fine. If you just know where someone's at and you're able to provide us with information, we'd certainly encourage you to contact the non-emergency number with our dispatch center. That's 402-441-6000, and you can report that. If it's an emergency, though, just call 911. We don't want anybody to be a hero. We have very trained people that are out there working day in, day out, very hard to try and get these people off the streets, and we are happy to go and try and find them. We just need a little bit of help on where to look, and that's all that we ask from the public.
No citizens arrests.
No citizens arrests.
That's
Nope.
the last thing that we need.
We don't need that.
Awesome. All right. Well, John, is there anything that we didn't cover yet today that you want to make sure we cover in this kind of first edition of the Lancaster Lookout?
I just want to thank the public who's already given us so many tips. I mean, there are so many tips that come in to our fugitive task force, to our dispatch center, of folks that have outstanding warrants. Sometimes people just get, in some circumstances that they need to have taken care of. A warrant sometimes is a part of that process, but we're happy to take those tips, and can't thank people enough for keeping those lines of communication open with us so that we can do that. And just want to thank our people that are out there day in and day out making this stuff happen. They do a dangerous job. It's dangerous work, but hopefully we can get these people safely off the streets.
Yeah, and Jared always talks about, too, that, again, if you're passing along information on someone who has a warrant, you're not necessarily condemning that person. This could be the first step in helping them rehabilitate if they have a drug issue or a mental health issue or something like that, and keeping themselves safe, maybe from themselves.
There's a lot of times that substance abuse, mental health fuel a lot of the other problems that end up kind of maybe what's someone's rock bottom. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of times that people will actually get their life turned around and thank us for arresting them when we've, it seems like an unpleasant experience at the time, but sometimes that's exactly what that person needs to get their life back on track. So, it's a part of the process. Sometimes people have to go to jail for warrants, but hopefully it's the starting point of turning something around.
Awesome. All right. Well, again, Captain John Vick with Lancaster County Sheriff's Office. Again, we're going to try and have him on about once a month to kind of go through the Lancaster Lookout. And I'll really quickly plug, you guys have a podcast.
Yeah, we do. We've got the 902 podcast. It's available on Spotify, Apple, wherever people get podcasts. We actually just had Jared Maneri on to talk about Crime Stoppers for our last episode. We talked about all things Crime Stoppers, including an upcoming fundraiser for the Crime Stoppers organization called Zoo Done It. That's coming up later in August at the Lincoln Children's Zoo. Should be a really fun event. Hopefully people can come out there and see us too.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Captain Vick. I think that basically wraps it up for us for this week. Again, I believe Jared will be back next week, again, going over more Crime Stoppers and, again, looking for more tips. So appreciate everyone for tuning in and for watching today. As always, please keep it tuned to 1011, both on air and online, for all of the latest news, weather, and sports. Hope everyone has a nice Wednesday afternoon.